started, so I think it's best that we just switch to the game. There we see it. So what do we see, Ivo?
We have a Grixis player against a Burn player. So turn 1 Goblin Guide, I see. I think the Grixis player had won the die roll because he's playing his second land. Because he's fetching for his second land after our first turn Scalding Tarn. So he's fetching for a basic. So maybe in mind already a Price of Progress. So he's fetching for a basic. Don't think Baleful Strix, turn 2. That's a nice turn 2, I think.
It's the 1/1 flyer with Death Touch, and it enters the battlefield. You can draw a card. It's the kind of advantage the Grixis player wants to play. Yeah. Now he has a blocker for the Goblin Guide. Attack first, a trigger. Ooh, it's a land. Draw.
Even the perfect land, it was a volcanic island, so next turn he will be able to have red mana. And a Suspend Rift Bolt. So yesterday we had modern, vintage and old school. Today we have only legacy. Let's see, another Rift Bolt, so next turn it's a possible 6 damage. That's how you want to play Burn, so let's see what the follow-up is from the Grixis player. Probably will play the Volcanic Island, because it was shown from the Goblin Guide last turn. No, it's not the Volcanic. Yeah, he needed a double black for Liliana.
It's a Liliana, the Last Hope.
Yeah.
So is it good enough against a Burn player? So the +1 is you can give a creature -2, -1 until the next turn.
Yeah.
So it can shut down Goblin Guides that are in play. It can lock down the Monastery Swift Spears just a little bit. They have promise, so you can boost them a little bit more. So he's going for 6 damage during his upkeep.
Yeah, to the face. Oh, I think the second Rift Bolt is countered by a Force of Will. Let's see what he's pitching. A Jace. I think a Jace is too slow in this matchup.
Yeah.
So draw step. Usually you want to play a Monastery Swift Spear in the first or second turn, so every time you suspend a Rift Bolt, it triggers also the Monastery Swift Spear. There's a Lava Spike to the face.
Yeah, indeed, Ivo, to go very fast with the Burn deck, I also believe you need a creature turn 1.
Yeah.
Turn 2, he had 1 Goblin Guide. In the second turn you want to follow up with the second creature. They can put in some more extra damage.
Yep.
A Goblin Guide should do like 4 to 6 damage. A Monastery Swift Spear as well, 4 to 6 damage.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And usually you finish it off with a Price of Progress or a
Fire Blast.
Yeah, Fire Blast.
So on the bottom you can see the clock. That's incorrect. There are only like 40 minutes left. We were some minutes late in the boot. we had some organizing stuff to do.
Yeah.
So the clock is incorrect. There are only 40 minutes left. There's still 40 minutes
Yeah.
left in this round.
I think with a burn player it's irrelevant.
Yeah,
But
indeed.
he'll never know. You'll never know. I've played Burn for 2 years, the first 2 years of my legacy experiment, and it was quite easy to put my opponent 10 and below 10, but the 0 from 5 to 0 was the hardest part, and usually against a very good control player you never get to finish it off for the last 5 damage. So.
Indeed, that's the common known problem from Burn, I believe.
Yeah.
It's very easy to do the first 15 damage in a game, but to finish it off with the last 5 damage, it's not that easy. That's what I told before. You need actually a creature on turn 1 and turn 2 just to make that a little bit more easy possible to do. So now we are already in turn 4.
There's a
Prize of Progress. This is still end of turn. It's in response on the brainstorm from Raphael.
It's to avoid counter spells. So,
Oh.
in response of the Prize of Progress. So he's tapped out. So maybe he's looking for a daze. It should be enough. Could be enough.
But maybe if the Prize of Progress resolves, it resolves.
Yeah, it is. 6 damage. So he's at 4. So he's within range of the Fire Blast. He doesn't have it. Maybe he could play it in response of the second Brainstorm, of the first one cast.
And we can see Jeroen has still 2 cards in hand. So only if one of the 2 cards is in land, normally it should be enough to kill Raphael in his next turn.
Maybe he's playing a main deck Grim Lavamancer, that's not enough. So
okay. So now a creature ain't good enough anymore. There is an angler on the other side.
Yeah.
So but just 2 burn spells from hand could close this first game down.
Or a Fire Blast.
So, but as we can see, Raphael is completely tapped out at this moment. We strongly believe he has no counter spells in hand, because otherwise he should have countered the Prize of Progress in his turn. I believe Jeroen has a Monastery Swift Spear in hand. There we have it, another Prize of Progress that came over. It's 1-0 for Jeroen.
Yeah.
So both players are going to their sideboard. Are there any cards that we believe that Jeroen or Raphael could bring in? Probably Raphael has some extra counter spells in sideboard.
Perhaps.
They will come in probably.
Yeah. As well as Jeroen, he could bring in some counter spells with the Red Elemental Blast. That could be an option.
So they have some Searing Blazes in sideboard. Is it good enough for killing the Baleful Strix to bring the creatures in? That you have just to kill the Baleful Strix on the other side, that your Monastery Swift Spear or the Goblin Guide could do some extra damage, maybe could bring some in, I don't know, I'm not an experienced burn player.
I'm not quite sure if that's for a Baleful Strix. Yeah, it's an iron creature, but it's not a win condition of the Grixis player.
No, no, indeed.
And I think you have to. Now, Burn is usually not interested in what the other what the other player is playing. So it's just to make sure his own spells and creatures going through, and.
But maybe some cards like Pyrostatic Pillar could come in.
Yeah, something like that.
Those are very good, I believe. And they resolve. Those cards
Yeah.
are very good.
Not quite sure if he's playing 4 Eidolons main deck. Usually they do.
Normally they do, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and probably some Pyroblasts that will come in from the sideboard. We don't have the deck list at this moment. We have some problems with the organization at this moment. We are some people short. It's early in the morning here.
Even maybe Ensnaring Bridge is possible.
But is it good enough against a deck that as Grixis? So if you bring in Ensnaring Bridge, okay, it locks down maybe the Hurmag Anglers on the other side, but it slows down your own game plan. Yeah, so it could be as you told before.
Yeah.
As you told before, it's very hard to bring in the last 5 damage in a game. So if you bring in Ensnaring Bridge against decks like Grixis, it would be even harder. I strongly believe Ensnaring Bridge you should bring it in against show and tell decks.
Yeah, sneak and show.
Sneak and show. Yeah, some decks like that. Therefore, you bring them in. I don't believe you should board them in against the Grixis matchup. But as I said before, I'm not an experienced Burn player. So, and for the Grixis player, we didn't see anything, but normally they have some Fluster Storms that they could bring in, probably some blue Elemental Blasts. I think that's everything that the Grixis players could bring in.
What do you think for a Grixis player? What to take out?
Depending on the deck list, he should try to find his dead cards. Liliana, the Last Hope, is it good enough against the Burn player? It's the turn 3 drop. Jace the Mind Sculptor, it's 4 mana, he plays like 2 or 3 pieces in his deck. Is it good enough? Is it...
He pitched the one.
If you go in late game, it's maybe good enough, but I think you believe you should have a game plan in turn 2, turn 3, turn 4 that you can interact with the Burn player to counter a spell. So you don't want to tap out just to put on a Jace. No. So I think maybe those cards are worse in this deck than normally. They have some Hymn to Turak, Skolgan's Commands.
Hand Disruption is
maybe a Thoughtseize. They're playing Thoughtseize. That's like a free shock for the Burn player. Maybe you could cut one of these. Then they have a lot of removal. They play Diabolic Edict, Fatal Push, Colgan's Command, Lightning Bolts. Maybe they're playing like 7 to 9 pieces of a creature removal. Maybe it's a bit too much. If the Burn player has only 1 creature and you have like 3 removal spells on hand, maybe you could cut down to 5 to 6 pieces. Somewhere you can bring out 2, but it's all depending on the sideboards, of course.
Of course.
So as said before, we don't have the list at this moment, so it's a little bit hard to see. So Lecocq, Raphael, they already started their 2nd game. So now he's directly going for a basic. He was tired of the Price of Progress in the first match probably. But that's what you see what Burn does. Just in 2 turns he played Price of Progress, end of turn in Lecocq Raphael's turn. Then in his own turn he played another one. It was like 12 damage in like 30 seconds of time. It's going very fast. You don't want to play too many non-basics against a Burn player.
Now, before the bannings of Deathrite Shaman, the Grixis player usually don't have any basics in their deck, so you had to counter the price
Yeah.
of progress because you couldn't fetch a basic.
So, but now is Burn a lot better against Grixis post Deadrite Shaman ban? I think so, yeah. Because the Deadrite Shaman, the Burn player had to spend, in most cases, just one burn spell to the Deadrite Shaman, because if you can start taking 2 lives out of the Deadrite Shaman, that was a very big problem for the Burn player. So now that problem is a little bit solved for the Burn player. So as from, not saying this correctly, not today, it's like from Friday evening, somewhere a new set is legal to play. There are maybe some fancy cards that we don't know that are good enough at this moment that we will see today. I'm very interested if we would see some Assassin's Trophy today. There was a lot of talking last weeks about the Assassin's Trophy. Is it better than Abrupt Decay? Ain't it better than Abrupt Decay? Yeah, it's depending on the game state, depending on the matches.
I saw it yesterday at the Modern event, so it was already in the format.
My opinion is that the Assassin's Trophy is better than Abrupt Decay. Okay, what's the difference? So Abrupt Decay, it costs the same mana, it's both an instant spell. Abrupt Decay is uncounterable. Okay? That's the main difference actually. And for the Assassin's Trophy, the opponent can search for a basic land in his deck. So that are the two differences. But the question is the non-counterable part of Abrupt Decay at this moment in Legacy, is it that important? Or would we say like destroying any permanent is more important? In Legacy we see some decks like Titan Post, we see Cloud Post Ramp. Yes, against those decks is the Assassin's Trophy definitely better. Abrupt Decay is a very dead card to get. It's just like Gurmag Anglers. We see a lot of Gurmag Anglers in the format. Those can be hit by Abrupt Decay. They can be hit by Assassin's Trophy. Of course, if you're playing against Miracles, if they play back to basics, you can Abrupt Decay that card. Okay, but let's go back to the match. What do we see? We see an Eidolon in hand, Prize of Progress, another Prize of Progress, Chain Lightning. Then the second card is an Exquisite Firecraft, I believe. And then the Riftbolt. So, and as I told before, I should port out the Thoughtseize. Raphael decided to keep it in. Maybe it's the good play, maybe not.
Yeah, but if he takes the Exquisite Firecraft, it's 4 damage he can prevent, because usually he can counter it. Oh, he's taking a Price of Progress, okay. But for me, that's the difference. He can counter the Price of Progress, but he can't counter the Exquisite Firecraft, and that's 4 damage as well. So.
But as we see, Jeroen has only 1 mountain in play. We didn't see any mountain on hand. So
he's short on
maybe
mana.
He's short on mana, therefore maybe he finds another mountain.
That's at this point maybe the best top deck he could have.
What should he do now? Maybe just play the Chain Lightning, suspend the Riftbolt, attack, try to bring in some extra damage. Raphael's only at 13 at this moment. So that's what he do.
3 damage.
3 damage. Raphael takes those 3. He's at 10 at this moment. So now the Monastery Swift Spear is a 2/3 creature. Now just suspends the Riftbolt.
First attack.
Okay, first attack. Oh, Fatal Push.
Fatal Push.
Fatal Push. And suspend.
Riftbolt,
So what do we see? Raphael has still a Force of Will in hand. That's the middle card, I believe. For the rest, I can't see any cards. Another very good question. How many basics does a Grixis player has in his decks? Most of the time they have 3 to 4 basics, 2 islands, 2 swamps. So he still has the possibility with this Pluto Delta to go for any basic land at this moment. Another Thoughtseize. He's going to 8.
Yeah. Now he's taking the Exquisite Firecraft, so...
Yeah. And he doesn't want to have Jeroen the extra mana drop. Because then, if he takes the 3 of the Riftbolt, he has to take the 4 of the Exquisite Firecraft and he can't fetch anymore, but because then he would be at 1 at that moment. So Jeroen is deciding, of course you should do it to the opponent and not
of course,
to...
that's plan A, so...
So now we know he has... Oh, he took another mountain, I believe.
Yeah. Should play the mountain first
just to go around days or something.
Yeah, of course.
But does a Grixis player play any days normally? But still, I would have played the mountain first.
Yeah, of course.
But this
your opponent knows your hand, so...
But this could be all over when the Eidolon resolved.
Yeah.
So, but...
It's 2 damage for every...
Maybe we did see it wrong, but didn't have Raphael a Forceful on hand. Shouldn't you counter the Eidolon? You know he has a Prize of Progress in hand.
Yeah.
But now your ponders, your brainstorms, even Fatal Push, Diabolic Edict, everything takes 2 damage.
Yeah.
At that moment you're only at 3, so every spell Jeroen draws from the top of his deck means
he's attacking.
You're dead.
I'm not sure why he is attacking, because now the Eidolon can attack as well, so that's 2 damage, so every burn spell is...
Or maybe he has some mass removal.
Maybe a Jade?
Should be.
Yeah? No? Nothing? That's quite odd.
So I think now he has... We know he has still a Prize of Progress in hand.
Yeah.
What does he bring in? Prize of Progress.
Trigger from the Eidolon, so he should take 2 damage.
Yeah, he's going to 15 normally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now they're adjusting the life scores, yeah. In response, 2 damage for the Fatal Push. And now Flusterstorm, yeah.
That's something you can't pay at this moment, Jeroen.
No. What's the last card? It's a Fire Blast. He's sacking the 2 mountains for a Fire Blast. That's 4 damage. Force.
That's what you said. Yeah, he had a Force of hand. That's.
Well, I didn't know if he had a second blue card.
So, but now it's all drawing from the top.
Yeah.
Every card Jeroen has in his deck. Besides.
I'm not sure what he have drawn, but I would have. That's
Goblin
right.
Guide.
Yeah, no attack from the
Goblin
Snapcaster.
Guide.
If he didn't attack with the Snapcaster, he could have blocked the.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, you have to know against a burn player, they play a lot of creatures with haste, so that's a misplay. That's a big misplay.